self-explanatory.
But then, today is the 30th of September, and in 5 hours, it'll be midnight. And it'll change from the 30th of September to the 1st of October. And so there will be a handshake between the American ambassador and the Vietnamese ambassador in the Security Council, because the United States is the president of the Security Council until midnight, and you take over at midnight. And so your destinies your destinies are intimately linked. They are linked in war, and they are linked in peace. And there is much that each of these two countries can learn from each other. One, 88% of the Vietnamese have a particular view of the United States, and obviously 80% of the Americans have a view which is questionable about Vietnam. And so there is, again, an exchange of views that is possible. But the question, I'm sorry you say that I ask you difficult questions. I haven't started yet.
Is it not true?
No, I haven't started yet, because now comes the difficult question.
Okay.
The United States is an unusual country because it has fought a number of wars which it has, quote unquote, lost. The Vietnam War was one of them. The Iraq War is a second one of them. And we are now in the middle of a third war, which is the Afghanistan war. And everybody in the newspapers is talking about the Vietnam example as relevant to Afghanistan. Is it relevant? Are these newspapers talking nonsense, or are they talking sense? And if I could prevail upon you to offer some advice to the United States about the relevance or non-relevance of the Vietnam experience to the Afghanistan experience, what would your advice be?
Well, this is really a tough question, I believe. But before answering your question, let me confirm your guess, your feelings about a new chapter in the Vietnam-US relations. In the Security Council of the United Nations, well, it happens. Nobody chooses it. But it happens that we sit together next to each other. You know, because you, United States of America, and Vietnam, you and we, we're always next to each other. And it's very interesting that every now and then when the American ambassador comes into the room, before Ambassador Khalid said, now Ambassador Susan Rice, when we sit next to each other, we often do very elegant act to each other by offering drinks, certainly this drink only, to each other. And that shows well, small thing, but at the same time, it symbolizes a new chapter in relations between the two nations. Before answering again the question, let me tell you that now the US market accounts for 22% of Vietnamese exports, by the way. Extremely important to us. And Vietnam, the US imports to Vietnam also account for about 15% of the Vietnamese imports. Extremely important to us. And not only that, many other things have bound us together. Last month, when there were 2 bombings at 2 hotels in Jakarta, The first act we Vietnamese did, I did actually personally. I called the Indonesian ambassador, Ambassador Nitalagawa. I told him that I got the news. I believe you got it before me. And I asked him if he wanted the Security Council to do something. A press statement, a presidential statement, because we can do it. We can support you. And when he replied to me that, thank you so much, I would appreciate anything prompt, immediate on this, in whatever form, whatever format. I said, okay, we'll do that. The second thing we do is to approach the American ambassador. Next morning, when the Security Council had an urgent meeting on several things, including that one, I raised the issue, because we have long procedures. You learn it, and you teach me sometime. But the presidency would say, well, today the agenda would be this and this. You agree with that? Anybody have any other matters? No? Okay, go for that. The second issue is other matters. Anyone wants to raise an issue? I raised the issue of the bombing in Jakarta. And when my turn came, I said, after strong cooperation and careful and full consultations between the two delegations, Vietnamese and American, we have come up with a draft press statement. And this is the result of our two delegations together. Then my counterpart, my American counterpart, Ambassador DiCarlo, who is also ambassador and deputy permanent representative of the States, she just endorsed the paper presented by me. And that is it. By that, again, I confirm to you that the two countries are now entering a new chapter, having a new chapter of cooperation. And certainly, don't be absolute about anything. Problems are there. Problems are there between the two countries. But still, do you see any two countries without problem? No. So that's for the first part of the short answer. The short answer. The long answer. The long part of the answer is about Afghanistan. In November last year, the Security Council sent a mission, a group of ambassadors to Afghanistan. And I was part of it. We flew from here to London, then to Abu Dhabi, then to Islamabad because of security reasons. From Islamabad, we took C-130, American military aircraft, to Kabul. We spent 4 days in Kabul. And from Kabul, we flew to Herat, a western province of Afghanistan, on Chinook, a chopper. All through those days, I witnessed the situation. And when we couldn't get out of the hotel without any people following us, accompanying us, or watching us. In the streets of Kabul, you would see lots of barricades along the way to reduce the speed of any vehicle on the road. Bombings, well, about 1 hour before we left, there were 2 bombings in Kabul. As a diplomat, I would not comment